Alright, so I got like three different subjects to cover. I got a nice ice cold Bud Light on deck just so you don't really take me too seriously. My name's Eric Carthage, aka whoever the fuck knows who the fuck my real name is. Alright, anyway, so I guess Hotep, peace, shalom, salam alaikum, what up, you know, this is straight politics once again. We got the ISIS crisis. We got the Ebola virus. Mike Brown, Eric Gardner, some Al Sharpton shit going on. And I'm gonna try to finish it off with the finance committee in relating to Russia and China. Let me write that in there. Finance, China, and Russia. But you know what? I want to throw Iran in there just to be an asshole, because, like, there's always an issue with the IPEC. Everybody looking for oil. We're still looking for cleaner oil. I believe that we've actually got cleaner oil. We just ain't using it yet. It's probably it's gonna make, it's gonna devalue the oil if you're not using it. Gold was one thing, but once you melt gold and you store it away, and it's like, one person has like the surplus, you know, it's like you start trying to refine the material. That's when you lead to different ways of finding it, where it's like fracking wise, it's some fracking kind of shit. So, it's known as the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. They dubbed it ISIS. Everybody over there probably has no idea what the hell ISIS is. Those who know their Greek shit, those that have heard of this mysterious goddess before, they know it was like rumored that the Romans used to worship this thing back in the back days, and it was outlawed. That's the last you hear about this thing. As far as there being an awakening with some, I would love to say conscious Africans. They're realizing that in Egypt there was a whole little thing where there was an Isis and there's this Osiris and a Horus, and it sounds a little similar to the Jesus story, but I will never say that it's the same freaking story. Like, they just plagiarized the story. That's impossible. That's very hard to do. That's my standpoint on that. But for them to use that, it's a wake-up call. It's a big fucking wake-up call. Those that was already dabbling with the ISIS thing now has their sign. Now has their sign. And you either roll with this movement or you don't roll with the movement. And what's funny is the people that's rolling with this ISIS thing, if you roll up in the Muslim world with the ISIS thing, you start saying, "Oh yeah, Assad, ISIS, yeah, I'm down with y'all." They're gonna look at you and say, "Infidel, chop your head off. Where the fuck did you come from?" But it seems to be that any old person from freaking Minnesota could get down with ISIS, and like they would have no problem with it. They just let them right on in there, like that's why we got. Americans always have to be careful of the converts back to American. Always be careful. I'm not saying to be too worried, but just keep in mind that whenever it's any friendly gesture could easily infiltrate. That's all I'm saying, and you got to be aware of that. I'm not saying that these guys aren't genuinely friendly at points. If they really want to be down with the get down. But yeah. What's funny is how long it took for them to really say, "Wait a second, let's hit Syria," because that's probably where they're coming from. They're coming from the top of the border from Syria into Iraq. I was kind of wondering about that. Like, they kept going from, pushing them back up there. Like, no, you gotta you gotta get into Syria some kind of way. Like, what the hell is taking you so? And that's the thing with America. Like we're starting to get really good at like not announcing the shit. You know what I mean? You don't want to make it a big freaking Congress deal, worldwide, televised, live, boom. We're gonna hit these motherfuckers. No, it's not the way we do it things. We're making decisions, but we ain't telling no fucking body, and that's what's up. I love that. 5 minutes. So check it. You go from that And the reason why these guys, the reason why the Iraqis is like dropping their guns and stuff away from these guys is because they wanted to get overran just to say, you know what, fuck you, America. Now you got a bigger mess to clean because we don't really feel like cleaning it ourselves. But you get too far down. By the time you get to these guys, we'll be like subject to them, and then it's a whole another thing. Then it's the Iraq is the central government of these motherfuckers, the ISIL. I don't know what the L. I forgot what the L stands for. It might stand for a loss, but I'm glad that somebody decided, not to call it ISIS. I appreciate that shit. But point is, it's a wake up call. Like I said, it's hitting below the belt, and I don't like it. I don't like this group. I don't think they should. You know what I mean? I hope they'll be stopped as soon as possible. Moving on. Ebola. 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 Oh, yeah. Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. Those are the ones that they said is quarantined now. Liberia was allegedly the spot where the Africans in America were supposed to be able to go back to. Right? That was the idea. Didn't work out too well. Big three, like about 4 or 5 civil wars. Time of peace. Time of no water. Time of no power. And now there's the spread of Ebola. Now, I just want to flash back to the whole, chlora thing. Chlorera, whatever the hell that stuff is called, that happened in Zimbabwe. Couldn't stand that guy. Guess what? There's a leakage all of a sudden. Nobody gets clean water. And I'm figuring that the Nile should be very well abundant. Oh, right. They're not letting everybody get to the Nile. But there's other parts in the Congo. Nope, there's military out there that shoot you down. These big dark motherfuckers gonna shoot you down. You go roll up in the Congo. Alright. This virus has been around way before AIDS. But way before, I just want to touch that. It's just way before AIDS. It's been around, and you're just bringing a motherfucker into New York, mind you, with this goddamn virus. Now, let me tell you something. I've always believed that I'm Mr. Conspiracy Theory Man on my YouTubes, and everybody worries about the zombie thing. You worry about the zombie thing, and these motherfuckers. This is a way of chemical warfare, germ warfare. I'm sorry, that people don't understand. Yes, a motherfucker can jump on a plane undetected because nobody knows they're carrying a weapon that's actually now a part of them. That this is stuff that we gotta realize that there's people out there that would love to pull this stuff off. And then they'll be honored. They'll be martyrs. They'll be the guys that died to kill so many Americans and so many different kind of Americans. Though, why hate us? I only speak as a black American that knows that you know I can't stand hospitals, but my heart goes out to all those that are there. But you should know better. There's certain things you don't do. Like this, you got to treat this shit like a plague. All that shit we see in the movies, I should expect these motherfuckers to have at least some of that shit on deck. No nurse should be walking around in there without a freaking mask on to cover her whole face and neck. Period. No nurse. I get the idea that maybe these nurses are taking that risk. Maybe they're like, oh, I'm not scared of the Ebola. I care for the patient. Because that's the next thing they do it now. That's one of the reasons I'm making my moves and posting this shit. Because that's when things can really get deadly. There's too many people that's not afraid to take these risks because they want to look like genuine people. Don't get me wrong. That's honorable, and I probably would do the same thing if I was if I took the job to be a medical blah blah blah. Damn it, somebody's gonna. That's one of the risks you gotta remember. Somebody's gonna come in there with something like the Ebola one day, and you're gonna have to be the one to either save their life or die trying. Motherfucker, he's contaminated with one of those viruses you can't die. You guaranteed you're gonna die from. You're gonna tell me that you're gonna go touch this man without a glove. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna tell me that you're gonna be like, he's gonna be coughing, and you're gonna be like, oh, there, yeah, cough it out, baby, cough it out. With a damn mask on, them shits ain't safe. Those shits is just that. Those shits don't stop a virus that's airborne getting in your face. That's a fact. Cause you gotta breathe too. Some of that shit is gonna get stuck on there, and eventually you are gonna breathe something. Okay. You got to change the mask every 10 minutes or whatever. There's so many things you got to do with certain stuff like this that Africa has stayed alive. They would have wiped out Africa if this wasn't common knowledge over there. You feel me? It would have wiped them out. It would have been like 5,000. No, it would have been fucking 100,000. It would have been millions. It would have been in the millions. Just everybody just going there like we have nowhere to put the bodies anymore. Like it's just so what? Oh, what are we going to do? Ebola. No, they've been dealing with this shit for years, and now it comes to America. Somebody pushed the button on that, and they probably want to kill us all. But if we can research the motherfucker and save more lives from what we get out of it, that's all well and good. I understand that. But the risk is too damn high. That's all I'm saying. Now, Mike Brown and Eric Gardner. I didn't understand too much of the Mike Brown story. I do know a lot about the Eric Gardner story because I'm in New York and I can get more access to that kind of information. So, it seems to be that the protest with the Mike Brown is starting to get a little hostile. And I'm gonna tell you like this: these motherfuckers want to go into these white areas and be like, "Oh yeah, Mike Brown, y'all killed him." It's only one person that did this, and until you can get to that one person, you kind of gotta like grin and bear it. If it was my son, don't get me wrong, I'm totally gonna be out there protesting something. Somebody's gonna hear my mouth. Alright? Somebody's gonna hear my mouth and they're gonna hear it and they're gonna hear it until I get over my son dead. Basically. At the same time, there comes a point in your life where you gotta realize what damage you're doing and what you're helping. Don't get me wrong, it's not going to be in vain if you're genuinely doing this shit for Mike Brown. But those that are doing it just to start some shit and get the ruckus going, and like, you got your Al Sharptons, and I've never thought I'd see the day where Al Sharpton was such a threat. Like so many people was like, "Oh my God, Al Sharpton, he sucks." Like white people, I always thought as a black man, he's just as powerless as every nigga, every other black man in America. Okay, he can't do shit for you. But De Blasio, but he's listening to De Blasio. Well, De Blasio's listening to him. No, De Blasio is listening. This is the first time he may be getting heard, but nothing is really being done. They forget that. China is buying the Waldorf Astoria. I'm sure they're gonna if they rise the price on it, some billionaire is gonna pick it up. It could rotate, but chances are the famous people might not be in there anymore. Russia has a stake in a lot of American property. Iran got the oil that's clean and don't got terrorists around it. I'm Eric Carthage, and this is the news. Let me stop playing. Straight politics, y'all. Thank you. And good luck out there, y'all. Peace.